I don't want anything from life anymore. I used to want very normal things. I wanted to move out, but I don't see the point anymore. Why do most people want to move out? I think it's either because they want a sense of pride, but I don't think it would give me any pride to move out. I don't think it's a bad thing to live with my parents. Or it's because they want to be independent, but I have no desire to be independent. Or it's because they want privacy, but I don't really do anything that requires privacy. I used to really want to move out because I really didn't like the noise. Not because my house is particularly noisy, but I just didn't like any noise. I wanted to be completely alone in silence. But now I feel like the noise is probably the only thing that keeps me stable. I used to want to make money, but since I don't need it, I don't see the point anymore. If I had money, I would be worrying all the time about how to use it to make more, and if I should spend it on one thing or another thing, or if I should save it, and I would constantly be worrying if I was making a bad decision. It feels like it's much easier to be in the present if you don't have money. I used to really want like-minded friends because I felt really lonely because I thought I was very far away from everyone else because of the way that I saw things. But lately, I don't really know if that is the reason why I've been lonely or not. And I used to think I had a somewhat interesting views on things, but I don't really feel like that anymore. Not because I feel like other people's views on things are more interesting, I just don't think perspectives are that interesting anymore. I used to really want to travel. I wanted to go to Asia, places like India, Korea, and of course, most of all, Japan. But now I think, if I feel lonely at home with my family, imagine how lonely I would feel if I went to Japan, this place that I've dreamed of going my whole life. And then, I wouldn't even have that fantasy left. So I think it's better not to go and protect the fantasy for as long as it still lasts. Maybe when I lose all interest to Japan, maybe when the fantasy completely disappears, I could think about going. I used to want a girlfriend so that we could wither away together. But lately I've kind of realized that it's much easier to wither away on your own. I've now got a taste of what it's like to be with other people because of talking to people on the internet, and I've realized I don't think I really want the whole thing. Also, my sexual interest has completely disappeared. I don't have sexual thoughts anymore. It was declining slowly throughout the years, then it started declining very fast the last couple of months, and then this month it's just completely gone. So I always thought that desires were a great burden because desires are what make us unable to appreciate what is around us, since what is around us is actually enough. It's only the fact that we want more what makes it what makes it not enough. If I didn't want anything, I could spend all day sleeping and watching anime. Sleeping is a good thing, watching anime is a good thing. So then why would I be unsatisfied? Because I had other desires. But now that I've lost my desires, I don't feel better as I expected I would. I feel worse. And I'm wondering why that is. And I think there's a couple of reasons it could be. It could be just because society requires productivity. The need to be active is so deeply ingrained in us that it is actually not even the cause of our desires, but just the thing that validates them. And once our desires disappear, we've realized that that's not where the motivation was coming from in the first place. Or it could be because as human beings, even beneath the level of society, we innately have the need to do things. I've lately been watching the anime Girls Last Tour. It's about these two girls that are in a post-apocalyptic world, and they find all these places and artifacts like religious symbols or a camera, and they don't know what the use of any of these things was. And they also come across other people who have these dreams that keep them going, like building an airplane or mapping the geography of an area. And they don't have these dreams because they actually seem to care a lot about aviation or geography, but rather just because they feel like they need to have a dream. And not because they feel like having a dream will make them happy, but rather because they feel like having a dream will make it easier to accept the futility. And if that is true, I think it is probably even more true in our world than in a post-apocalyptic world. Because I feel like our world, which has so many contradictory influences that it is truly impossible to be happy, is much more futile than a world where you're just alone with another human being. So I do think it is possible that the thing that torments us is not the inability to be happy, but the ability to be reconciled with the futility. And that maybe the best way to reconcile with the futility is to try your best so that you can actually prove that things are futile rather than just suspect it and be in this constant anxiety that you might be wrong. Also, I'm wondering if maybe the reason I feel like this is because I made eye contact with someone the other day. It was just a moment, but I felt really, really bad the whole day afterwards in a very weird way. And since I've been feeling like this, it didn't start in that moment, but it's been a slow loss of interest throughout years, and then it's greatly accelerated the last couple of months, and then it plummeted on that day. But other things happened that day too, so maybe it was not that. But if it was anything from that day, I think it would be that. I think I do feel much more emptied now that I have made eye contact with someone else after such a long time. And then I was also worrying if actually it's really just something much more practical, and it is that my mind suspects that this state is temporary. And if it is, then it would be pretty dumb to give up a year or two on top of the ones I've already given up, not doing anything just because I don't want to do anything now. I would feel really stupid if in a couple of years all the desires come back. So if not doing anything doesn't satisfy me, but having projects doesn't satisfy me either, I think I should probably choose the projects, because having not done anything will definitely not satisfy me in the future, but having done something might satisfy me in the future, and if it doesn't, well, nothing was lost. So I feel like I should do my best just in case at some point it matters. Now the difficulty is choosing what to do if I don't want anything. So really I just have to guess, and the easiest guess is to do the things that I used to want to do. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to pursue my old goals even though I don't care about them anymore. And as my interest has been declining in these goals, I always thought, if I didn't do anything when I really, really wanted things, how am I going to do something now when I don't care anymore? But in the last week, I've kind of flipped my mindset, and I think it's the other way around. I think the reason why it's so hard to do what we want is because every time we are at a point where things could go better or worse, we are consumed by the vertigo of that risk. And I think it would probably be much better, actually, or much easier, actually, to do things and to make the right decisions if we don't care about the outcome, but we have a map for what we want to achieve. It's probably much easier to go through life like a zombie than being passionate about everything. So I'm going to find out soon if this way it actually is easier, and I'll continue to talk about it, although this is just one thing. I will mostly talk about other things. Thank you if you have watched this video or any part of it. I think people click off my videos pretty quickly, which makes sense. So thank you to the people who watched a bit too, and I'll try to see you as soon as you can.